For the last time, will you make a choice?
Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today we're here to talk about the new M. Night Shyamalan movie, Knock at the Cabin. But before we dive into that, if you are a fan of 4K Blu-ray reviews, movie reviews, and now we do podcasts, if you're into all that, nothing helps this channel out more than by you liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and subscribing to our podcast. So M. Night Shyamalan, he's probably one of the most well-known directors, I guess, in the last 30 years. He's directed some classic films over the last 24 years, including probably still his most famous film and his first film, The Sixth Sense.
I see dead people.
And then he followed that up with Unbreakable and Signs, which are both, I think, still in his top 3 films of all time. So he came out of the gate with his 3 best films. And then after that, he kind of started to get a little shaky there with The Lady in the Water, The Happening. Then things got really off the rails with The Last Airbender and that Will Smith, Jaden Smith vehicle. And then he kind of, he reeled it back in, got to a low to mid-level budget films again, like he used to get with The Visit. And then a couple of years ago, he did Old, which I thought was pretty good. And now I think he's finally really back. I think this could actually be a top 5 M. Night Shyamalan movie in Knock at the Cabin. So Knock at the Cabin is an adaptation of the book, The Cabin at the End of the World, written by Paul G. Tremblay. And this is a 2018 novel. And M. Night Shyamalan co-wrote the screenplay for this and brought it to the big screen with a stacked cast. And this is kind of actually like a play, this movie. It takes place mostly in this one cabin. So this could have actually been a stage show. Other than the fact that there is some flashbacks throughout this and there's some news scenes on TV that we see only in this cabin. Other than that, this film takes place almost completely at this cabin. So this actually could have been a very well-made Broadway play or any sort of play. And I actually think that even saying all that, it is still a very uniquely shot and well-acted film. And I really enjoyed my time with it. And this cast includes Dave Bautista, Jonathan Groff, Ben Aldridge, Nikki Amuka Berg, and somebody who we never see in any movies anymore is Rupert Grimm from the Harry Potter series. So I thought it was pretty cool to see him pop up in this, and he is not that clean-cut kid that we remember from the Harry Potter movies. Let me just tell you that. And you know what's really in right now? The apocalypse. With The Last of Us, this movie, there's been plenty of books and shows coming out over the last couple of years, so the big thing that they want to show us in the world right now is the apocalypse. I don't know what they're trying to say, but that seems to be a big theme that is going on in the world of film and TV right now. And this movie is no different, and I actually think that this one is one of the better films to tackle the apocalypse. They do it in a very realistic manner, and they also do it with a pretty broad character study, even though this film isn't that big. Because there really is only 7 characters in this movie, they do a good job of fleshing out each of these 7 characters, some more than others, because some do, without spoiling anything, some do pass away pretty early in the movie. And just to give you a basic synopsis of this film, because I don't want to spoil this movie for you at all. M. Night Shyamalan movies are usually the kind of movies you don't want to spoil. Just ask anyone who had The Sixth Sense spoiled for them.
Try and keep up. Lot of twists. Lot of twists in this thing.
So this movie just starts off very early in the movie. Jonathan Groff and Ben Aldridge, they are a couple, and they go spend a holiday in a cabin in the woods. And they have a daughter named Wynn, who they bring with them. And the 3 of them are staying in this cabin. And then one day, one fateful day, 4 people led by Dave Bautista's Leonard character show up. And he tells Wynn, we got to go inside and talk to your parents. Dave Bautista and the other 3, they all come inside. Well, they break inside and they tell this family, unfortunately, we need to make a sacrifice to save the world, and if we don't, the world is going to end. And that is where I'm going to stop with any of the plot and story description going forward, because, like I said, it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, and I can recommend it, and I think you should see it in theaters. And I don't think that me spoiling it is going to help that. And really, the standout in this cast is Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista, I'm a huge fan of his ever since, obviously, I grew up a wrestling fan, and Dave Bautista's been around in the wrestling world since he was Deacon Batista back in 2002.
The size of those arms. Dude's a freaky looking. What is that?
With Devon Dudley, and then he came through Evolution. The way his career arc has gone, the fact that, in my opinion, he is the best wrestler turned actor is incredible. I never could have called that. If you had that on your bingo card, you're a goddamn liar and you know it. Because there was no way that anyone ever saw Batista being a better actor than The Rock and John Cena, or even Hulk Hogan back in the day. Most wrestlers turned actors, they kind of just, they operate in that, over-the-top role. No, Dave Bautista's an actual dramatic actor, and he really brings the emotion to the role that he's playing here. He really does a good job of fleshing out his character. and really leaning into the fact that he's a big guy but with a big heart. He really just does such a good job in this movie, and I really can't understate that. And Jonathan Groff, who pops up in this, like I said in another video, Mindhunter was one of my favorite shows on Netflix. It only got 2 seasons, it got canceled. He was one of the co-stars of that, and it was just awesome to see him pop up in here, and he does a great job in his role in this. But other than Dave Bautista, I think the other standout acting performance in this was Nikki Amuka Bird, because her character is another one that you just felt for. She does a great job portraying emotion, somebody who, you know, do they want to, like, what are they doing? What is going through their mind? And you can see that through all the face acting, and every time she delivers dialogue, she's got a lot of emotion behind it. She does a phenomenal job in this movie. So I think between her and Dave Bautista, they stole the show as far as acting goes, but that is not to undersell everybody else in this movie, because I think that all the leads in this, because it's an ensemble cast, there's 7 of them, I think they all do a really solid job. And this movie is very well shot, and it's gonna make you feel because of what the themes of this movie are, especially in the modern world. I think they just did a good job with this movie. Is it a perfect film? No, it's not. You know, it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, so some things can be a little overwritten. And M. Night Shyamalan, always with all his movies, especially in Old, he likes to give you every single answer. And I think it works better in this than it does in Old. But some things, you know, you can leave up to the imagination. Some things don't need all of this exposition. I know that's what he does. And, you know, one of my biggest complaints about M. Night Shyamalan has always been how he wrote kids. I think that Wynn is probably his best written child actor throughout. And that includes, I think Wynn is probably his best written child acting performance since all the way back in The Sixth Sense. Even though he puts kids in almost all of his movies, the way that they're written, they're almost written just like adults. I think he finally, in this movie, captured that, you know, a child's still a child. They're not going to always talk like adults. This is just a smart child. And I think he finally figured out how to write a child when he finally got up to this movie. Even though, again, she's just as much of a part of this movie as the other 6 actors are. Overall, I could really recommend Knock at the Cabin. I think it was actually a very fun trip to the movies. It's not an incredibly long movie, which I can really appreciate. Most movies now want to go for that 2.5 to 3 hour range for some reason. It was nice to go in there and have a nice short run, tell the story that we're trying to tell, be entertained throughout, and leave you thinking. This is one of those movies that if you go see it with other people, you're not going to want to stop talking about this. You can have a fun car ride home, you can go have dinner with your friends, and you're all going to be talking about what would you do in this scenario. Like, if this was you, what would you do? What did you feel watching this movie? I really think that this is definitely one of those movies that you're really going to enjoy seeing in theaters. I can recommend going and checking this one out. And as far as the horror movie goes, even though I would say this is more of a horror thriller, this is still, I think, as far as horror movies go, we've been eating good this year. We've had Megan, Infinity Pool, and now this. And we're only, 33 days into the year? Man, we've been doing pretty good as a horror fan. So overall, for the M. Night Shyamalan movie, Knock at the Cabin, I'm going to really give this a solid 8 out of 10. I enjoyed my time with it. It was a fun trip to the theaters. This isn't an Academy Award-winning type film, but this is definitely something that if you're looking for something to watch this upcoming weekend, hey, I don't think that there's a better choice in theaters right now than Knock at the Cabin, so I can recommend you checking that out. And if you guys like this video, nothing would help us out more than by you liking this video, subscribing to the channel, looking us up on podcast services, and then subscribing to that. Maybe give us a 5-star rating since we're a couple of 5-star men. I don't know. But if you do, we would really appreciate that. And we really appreciate all your support, guys. Thank you guys so much. But as you all know, it is Friday, and that means it's time for our digital code giveaway. So we do this every Friday here on the channel, so maybe if you're new to the channel, you're wondering what exactly it is we do. Well, every Friday, Matt or I will ask you guys 2 questions. All you have to do is answer one of those questions in the comment section below, and then on Monday's video, we will put your name on a wheel. We spin that wheel twice, pick 2 winners, and whoever those 2 winners are, they have their choice of the digital codes that you saw on your screen before you today. And what is the first question? Well, it's an M. Night Shyamalan kind of week, isn't it? So I'm going to ask you guys, what is your favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie? And if you're not a fan of M. Night Shyamalan, you don't want to answer that question, I wanted to ask you guys, what is your favorite horror movie since the year 2000? So you got 23 years to pick from, and M. Night Shyamalan has made quite a few in that time span. So this is more just a, hey, let's honor M. Night Shyamalan and what he has done for film in the last, 24 years that he's been around. So again, those 2 questions are, what is your favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie, or what is your favorite horror movie since the year 2000? And leave those comments in the comment section below, and Matt and I look forward to talking to you guys about it all weekend. And then we'll see you all on Monday, where we spin that magic wheel. So anyway, guys, that's gonna do it here for me, and we'll be seeing you around.